Good afternoon, everyone. This is Kenneth Gamble speaking. I'll be joining you guys live at the waterhole today. Seems like we're already starting here at El Doño with a big pack of elephant bills or herd. They're definitely cooling off a bit. I'm going to try to see if I recognize some of them. Also, before I forget, I think just to wish everyone a happy Lion Day or International World Lion Day. I don't know if we'll be that lucky, but it would be quite cool if we were able to see some lions. That bull on the left certainly has very unique tusk there. It's interesting how it's curving all the way almost underneath his trunk there. Don't often see it from bulls. I've seen it a couple times with cows myself. Just a reminder also to everyone, as always it's a live and interactive show. Please feel free to send through your questions or any thoughts you have, and hopefully we can answer them. I see we've got a zebra joining us. So it looks like most of the elephant bulls are done drinking. Just one or two fellows still quenching their thirst, but they seem to be taking it quite easy. Joan Mello, happy Sunday to you as well. Good to have you here. Same to Mercedes Bean. I see she's watching again. It's a great way to certainly spend a Sunday. And also nice to have Darkman Lover here as well. Hopefully we have a few nice treats in store for us. Appears like there's only a few zebra visiting the waterhole today. The rest maybe are just hanging back a bit. Okay, no wait, there's a few more coming through. They've obviously just been pushed to the fringes a bit with all these large elephant bulls that are certainly stamping their name down when it comes to the hierarchy at the waterhole. Also a bit of aggression going on between the zebras. Always a fight for the prime spot at the waterhole. It's obviously quite nice at a waterhole like this with and the animals also know at no risk of crocodiles, so they are certainly a bit more calm, I'd say, or a lot more just focused on getting there full of water. compared to some of the other locations like Tau, etc. The animals certainly approach the water with a bit more caution. That one elephant bull I was trying to figure out, he's slipped off to the side now. I think he's behind one of the bulls. It was wonky tusk I was thinking of, but I don't think those tusks look the same to me. So we've also got a giraffe sliding in at the back there, minding its own business quite peacefully. Melanistic marble, yeah, no, I think they are definitely discussing their plans, or at least their going ons from this morning. Maybe sharing a few secrets, but no, they're definitely catching up, and I'm sure it won't be too long before they head off. But I think we're going to do the same and head over to a new location. Here we are at Camelthorn. Also a few elephants doing the day shift. Certainly looking quite a picturesque day there in at Camelthorn Farmstead. Certainly looking quite hot and dry, but yeah, we are late into the dry season now, so it's only going to slowly get warmer from here on out, and it's still going to be a while before we've got some good rain. Auntie, you'd like to know why elephants hang their trunks over their tusks. I think the biggest reason generally would be just purely a comfort thing. The bull, obviously he needs to have big enough tusks in the first place. But yeah, while you generally often see it near a waterhole, I think it's just a bit of load off of the muscles there, and generally when they're doing it, you do see them in a relaxed stance almost. So I think that's your biggest reason. It's just comfort and a bit of relax. Obviously it can change if it's due to a damage or injury, but I think you'd see a bit more other signs and behavior almost from the bull that would maybe indicate comfort in that situation. Sharon Kutzer. Now it really is a stunning thing to watch this time of year. Today I was a bit in the garden, and it was just the wildlife seems to be very bountiful, although it's quite dry, but it is nice to see all the wildlife doing its thing. BBC, you'd like to know when will the pans and waterholes fill up again? Obviously in the case of the artificial waterholes, we won't notice too much of a difference, and in those situations where it does rain, they obviously stop filling those waterholes up. But we've probably got a good 2-3 months before we start seeing serious rains throughout southern Africa, I'd say. Yeah, it's still going to be a while before we see proper rains, and generally, if anything, it's more late November, December where you start to have the proper rains that are quite noticeable. So it's still a bit of a long haul for the animals, but I'd say towards October, November it will start easing up a bit, and I think everything will look quite different and lush. That's my favorite part, that's for sure.
Join me for a magical safari to India, a wildly exotic land of tigers, temples and Kipling. To start, we'll head to Pench and then to Doba to look for the famed Bengal tiger, as well as deer in the dappled forests, sloth bears and countless birds. We'll stay in stunning eco-lodges that blend luxury with a light footprint. Our Indian adventure culminates in Agra with a sunrise visit to the Taj Mahal.
What does it take to handle the wild? Balance. Determination. Focus.
Yaku!
And gear that can take a beating so you don't have to.
My full name is Maxine Gaines. Most people that know me really well call me Max. I'm a mum. I have 2 boys. One is 16 years old and one is 14 years old. I'm a very, very proud mama of my 2 boys. I've just always been passionate about leopards. I'm passionate about their conservation. I'm just passionate about everything to do with leopards. I love them.
Welcome to Safari Spotlight. We'll be
And you pretend like you're a serviceman, eh?
Got no idea what's going on in this reserve.
Expecting the unexpected.
Are we stuck down there?
What am I trying to do?
So we have another giant of Mabula.
That was incredible.
This is unbelievable.
It's going to be a spectacular afternoon.
Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? Wild Earth Travel's newsletter is your passport to a magical journey. Explore exclusive travel options featuring special offers at stunning Wild Earth locations and all hosted by your favorite presenters. Don't miss out. Head over to our website and subscribe to the Wild Earth Travel newsletter today and stay in the know on all our unforgettable adventures. Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
Get to their grazing areas. So although they've got the water source sorted, it's still quite a hard time of year for hippos, and you actually start to see them lose condition this time of year as the grazing is depleted, and obviously they're having to travel further and spend more energy just to feed. I do agree completely, Sharon. I think the best way to call it is referring to it as the bushveld soundtrack. It's just an amazing sound hearing the birds, etc. And some of my fondest memories have always been sitting at a waterhole in a national park, listening to a few elephants splash around, the hippos calling, and obviously your bushveld birds just going on about their daily routine. It's for a very quiet time of day, it's a very peaceful time as well. Darkmane lover, I do agree. It's certainly an elephantastic day. I hope I said that correctly. But that's kind of always the great thing about a waterhole. There's generally elephants at this time of day, and it certainly gives one something to look at and enjoy. It's interesting, these bulls seem quite aware of something. I'm not sure if there's something going on that we can't see in the frame, but you can just note how that bull's head is almost picked up quite a bit. He's alert, seems to be looking or listening, but it seems like he's not too concerned now about what he was maybe picking up. As these guys go on about their day, I think we're going to go see how things are going on Nguma. Now look at that, we are definitely being spoiled with elephants today. I think so far we're 3 for 3. Definitely have another dry spot, but with a bit of water, life carries on. It's certainly very interesting to notice the difference between all the elephants, and we've been in 3 rather distinctly unique locations: Kenya, Botswana, now again in Etosha and Namibia. Certainly interesting to see a bit more of the adaptations of these elephants. And once again, all 3 of those zones are a bit more arid compared to what we see here, maybe in the Lowveld or, for example, Tembe. Those elephants certainly don't experience as such dry, harsh conditions as these ones do. As such, in arid conditions, those elephants tend to be a bit, almost seem a bit slimmer. You could maybe say it's an adaptation for dealing with lower value food sources and less water that they come across, and obviously traveling as much as they do. But yeah, certainly interesting, and it is amazing how adaptive elephants are, how they extend through so many different habitats and ranges throughout southern Africa and most of Africa for that reason. Corin, you'd like to know how cold that, or you wonder how cold that water is. I can guarantee you it's probably rather chilly. Definitely deceiving how maybe hot and arid it's looking that side, but it is definitely winter, and that water will definitely be on the chilly side. I myself have been to Etosha in the winter months, and yeah, it takes a while to warm up. We've moved over to Aldonio again. I see those giraffes have clearly moved in. It's probably those ones we saw slinking on the outskirts. Always amazing how alert they look, and as they carefully examine their surroundings. Obviously, yeah, a giraffe drinking is a vulnerable giraffe, so it's in their best interest to make sure it is safe for them before they begin to drink. And I see we've also got some gemsbok on the fringes there. There's another one coming in, so maybe a herd will also come visit. Well, clearly giraffes have decided it's safe to come in now. Having a last look before committing. Ah, no, our elephants are also still here, so it's actually quite a Garden of Eden at the moment. I see the giraffe closest to us has got quite a bit of oxpeckers. As much as they provide a great service, I'm sure it's not the most comfortable thing to be trying to drink with little birds scrambling around your face and ears, especially when you're trying to maintain caution and be alert for any other sound or disturbances. But that's the sacrifice the giraffe make to deal with the oxpeckers, I guess. Janko Janssen saying, what a beautiful sighting on a Sunday. I do concur completely. There's not many more peaceful or better ways to spend the afternoon hours. It would certainly be wonderful to be there live in person, but fortunately with technology we've at least got a bit of ability to watch and enjoy these far-flung locations and dream about them, and hopefully make some plans or put some plans in place to go visit these places. I think I've personally developed quite a bucket list of places I want to go after watching a number of the waterhole cams.
Hi everybody, looks like we have just located on a beautiful leopardess known as Clalamba.
The Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website.
My full name is Maxine Gaines. Best part of the job, gosh, I just love everything about guiding. I love being able to observe animal behavior and animals behaving naturally. So for me, that's by far the best part of the job. And so what we do here at Wild Earth is develop those connections with the people that are viewing, and maybe just light a little spark that says, you know what, I want to be involved in protecting this ecosystem.
I must say that's something Albania is always quite productive for, is elephants and large herds of zebras. It's always stunning just to watch them come in, and just that typical, the blending of the stripes and stuff. It's always quite a pretty sight to watch as they stumble in, I'd say, or slog their way in. Definitely got the majority of the zebra herd now taking over. I think this last elephant bull is just grabbing a bit more water before he heads out for the day. Quite a big, impressive old bull. A bit of an indication of his age in this situation is the sunken in temples up there. Obviously his large ivory indicates he's not a young bull, but certainly quite an older gentleman having a sip of water. Lucy, you'd like to know if giraffes can drink without stretching their legs. No, they can't. I think unless the water's in a bit of maybe an artificial trough or it's a bit elevated, but the way their necks work with their vertebrae, etc., they have to lower themselves quite low down to get to the water. They can't bend their neck that much in that direction. And hence the reason for them to stretch their legs open and lower their head down closer to the water. Leon Tom wants to know if zebras hunt in packs. Leon, I think I myself have never been hunted by zebra. They seem to stay quite peaceful, but jokes aside now, zebras are always in herds, and I don't think they'll be hunting us anytime soon. I can see that bull throwing his weight around a bit. Shoving a few of the zebras out of the way. Seems to be a few more elephants still hanging around on the back there, but they are having a dust bath. They are not interested in water at the moment. The zebras are climbing around a bit. So here's a good example of the two elephant bulls communicating a bit with each other. I don't think we'd pick up a lot of the sounds with the camera, but it sure they are communicating to each other with audio cues. Darkman lover, I do agree. It is fantastic seeing large herds of zebra at the waterholes. Quite a typical sighting, I guess, a sighting that goes off in your imagination. Seeing large herds of zebras and a few giraffe just standing around on the open plains of Africa. I don't think I could sum it up better. And of course the large pachyderms gracing everyone with their presence. We can see that bull bathing himself in a bit of dust, obviously just to deal a bit with the parasites, and there's also a coating of sand also helps keep the heat of the sun off you. I'm of the opinion mud probably works a bit better, but generally they will first spray themselves with mud and then coat themselves with sand as well, which will stick and keep itself in place. A lot of messages coming through about just a lovely afternoon it is here at Aldonia. I wholeheartedly agree with everyone. I think Aldonia is probably definitely a top 10 places on earth which could be considered as paradise on earth, or heaven on earth. Certainly just idyllic. Numerous bird species, elephants, zebras, giraffes galore. I don't know what more a nature enthusiast could ask for, that's for sure. David Atwood, you'd like to know, have I ever witnessed elephants defending and protecting another type of animal from lions? Personally, no, but I can say every time I've seen lions or cats like cheetahs, for example, and an elephant comes through, they waste no time in chasing them off. Once when I was a couple of years ago in Tembe, we actually saw a few lions lounging about, and when the elephants picked up on their scent, they were very quick to chase them out of the area. Yeah, it's interesting. You'll often also see elephants chase lions off of a carcass. I don't know if it's necessarily out of trying to help the animal, especially if it's already expired. I think it's just there this obviously the scent of predators that they pick up on, and just their general dislike for them. I think more out of their own reasons than trying to help other animals. But yeah, it's normally if you're watching lions or another type of cat lounging about and the elephant picks up on the scent, it's normally quite a interesting spectacle, because you can be sure the show is about to start. I think while we leave Aldonio, and let's go have a look at Victoria Falls, see if we see some more elephants again. Well, that's quite a nice different site. Clearly a bit of feeding has taken place at the Vulture restaurant. Oh no, here we're actually about to see it, so this is going to be a great spectacle. We've got all the marabou storks and various vulture species waiting for their feed. Chaos is definitely about to ensue. Certainly waiting with excitement and anticipation for the meat to be spread out for them. Certainly a different type of Sunday lunch for the vultures. And there we have them descending on the scraps. It's quite a spectacle to witness. I don't know how more birds don't get bitten or hit by each other's wings. It looks like pure chaos on there. But obviously it's quite natural for them how it also would take place at a carcass. And I'm sure it wouldn't take more than a few minutes to clean all the meat off those bones or all those scraps that have been left for them. There's not going to be much left shortly. You can see a few hooded vultures hanging around at the bottom there. They're almost waiting on the outskirts. They're not as large as the other vultures like the white-backed vultures, etc., that are the main species here, or the marabou storks. So they have to wait on the fringes and pick the opportunities if they want to try get any pieces. But what they will also do is they'll wait for the main pieces of meat to be eaten off the bones, and they've got smaller beaks that allow them to pick off those little scraps and last tidbits that are still clinging to the bones. Lady Macbeth, I do agree, lunch has been served. At least the timing was quite good. It's interesting to see how the marabou storks are a lot bigger, but they're also quite cautious to get involved in the fray with the vultures. I would almost think they have a better advantage with their height and their longer beaks, but clearly the vultures are well adept at holding their own ground.
Wow.
Would you like to know what an elephant's favorite food is? You could ask me questions like that in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive from the heart of Africa.
Over here.
Watch Safari Live and connect with nature.
Meal, and they can keep it to a later stage to support them. Just another way vultures are so adaptable. They are able to make the most of challenging, difficult times so that they can get through, and also allows them to survive in a few harsh environments. Karen, you'd like to know how blue the stork's feathers look. I think it's got a bit more to do with the angle of this camera, sorry, and the light hitting their feathers. It's generally a bit of a darker blue, darker grey, almost a bit dirtier, but I think the way the sun is shining off their feathers in quite a pretty way is actually making it look quite pristine and bright and light blue, but it's generally a bit of a darker color. You can definitely see the vultures cleaned up this bit of food that was put out for them. It seems like there's still a bit near the bottom of the screen. Obviously maybe a bigger piece of meat was left there for them, but yeah, I'd say the cleanup crew of the African bushveld has done their job. Ivan with quite an interesting question. Will an animal startle at its reflection in the waterhole, or do they seem to recognize themselves? Ivan, I don't think they startle so much from their own reflection. I think it would have to do with more the presence of crocodiles, and it's like we see at El Doño, the animals almost approach that waterhole with very little fear or concern for anything there. and I think once they are drinking in an area where they know crocodiles are lurking, they tend to be very, very cautious. I don't know if maybe a bit of a change in reflection might cause them to startle, but I think they are very focused on movement in the water, and if they see anything swirling or slightly moving, that's what causes them to startle and rather run. Unfortunately, a crocodile is adept at lying motionless for quite a while, more than willing to wait for the perfect opportunity to strike, and that's what makes them such successful predators. But at the same time, animals do also have incredibly fast reflexes. I've seen a couple or numerous footage over the years where even when the crocodile strikes, some antelope are able to dodge the crocodile, which I think is quite amazing, because it's literally the blink of an eye. Karen, surprised that they don't get into a frenzy and attack each other. I think we've maybe got a bit of a location here where we don't notice it too much, but at a carcass or a feeding area for vultures, it can get a bit intense. You'll sometimes see some vultures break off and having a bit of a fight with each other. Like we're seeing at the bottom here, actually. You can see them asserting their dominance a bit, but I guess there is a bit of a pecking order. But nonetheless, it was great being here for lunch. I think we're going to head back to El Doño and see what's waiting for us there. You'll see we've had some gemsbok come join us at the waterhole here. It's quite nice to see them in a bit of a larger group. Earlier we were only seeing them in drips or drabs or ones and twos. And it's nice to see them coming for a drink. Obviously they can last a lot longer compared to other antelope without water. So it's not often that you see them coming to drink. But if they do have the opportunity, they will not waste it. So don't force themselves not to drink if they don't need to. And also they've got quite beautiful face markings. It's quite a striking image, seeing them stand there and look at the camera like this one is not doing. Also with their slightly fringed ears. It was quite a comical, striking look. It appears to mainly be cows. I don't think there's a bull with this herd. Maybe towards the back. But definitely seems with a slightly curved, long, straight horn, which the females tend to have. I have a feeling there's still an elephant near the waterhole. Could also be why the gemsbok are drinking carefully to one side and just keeping their distance. here's a bull. I think that's also quite a good example if you look at his horns. He's gone out of frame, unfortunately. But a lot more thicker, shorter, not as long and thin as the females. Right on cue. We definitely do still have a large elephant bull here. It seems like he startled the oryx a bit. Almost looks like that one bull is resting with his face against the other bull. You might be able to consider them good friends. But it looks like they're well in that siesta mood for a Sunday, just taking the day very peacefully. Mainly finished drinking and just trying to catch a bit of a nap on the go.
Step into the heart of Africa from the comfort of your home.
Female leopard tracks over here.
Join our expert guides for a live 3-hour safari where every moment is real, unscripted, and unforgettable. Ask questions.
Animals rely on their senses.
Share your thoughts and be part of the experience as we explore together. Safari Live.
Out here, every wild moment counts, and as a Wild Earth explorer, you won't miss a thing.
Incredible.
Watch the Wild Earth channel ad-free 24/7 and rewind if you want to catch something again. Enjoy behind-the-scenes videos, fireside chats, and early access to travel offers. The best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
Mr. Elemental, we'd like to know why don't prey animals stick with elephants or near elephants for protection. I think in a perfect world they maybe try keep near them, but the elephants will not protect them. Maybe in the odd case the elephant notices the lion or leopard, etc., cheetah. It may chase it off, but I think also it happens so quickly. The elephant will not be there to help, and I don't think necessarily would be there to help. It would definitely be watching over its own interests if it chose to do something. And sometimes, I mean, we've seen it a few times on the waterhole camps, the elephants exhibit a bit of aggression to the other herbivores when it comes to water. I think obviously in the bush you don't, or out on the, away from the waterholes, you won't see it as often, but it's at the end of the day it's about resources, and if the elephant wants to throw his weight around and dominate the waterhole, the herbivores just have to give way. And I'd say another reason is cats are so opportunistic and quick. I think they would probably grab the antelope or prey animal way before the elephant could maybe help or do anything. And they certainly, I mean, cats are well aware they can outrun an elephant, so they know they have to keep their distance, but they know that the chances are they will get away are quite high. David Atwood. If I had to choose what is my favorite animal and why, hands down it would definitely be the black rhino. I love seeing a black rhino when we are either in the Kruger or elsewhere in southern Africa. They're unfortunately quite rare, so you don't see them often, but I just love the attitude and the dominance they exude. Black rhinos can be quite aggressive, but I just find them such exciting animals to watch. They are hands down my favorite. I get very excited when I see one. It's only happened a handful of times in my life, and I'd say a close second would definitely be leopards. I also get quite excited when I come across a leopard. That's always a stunning animal to see. I love their solitary nature. I think maybe I enjoy solitary animals a lot more. It's not easy to be alone in the bush. Ansi, you've got a question. What's the difference between black and white rhinos? Good timing. So your main difference is obviously the shape of their lips. The black rhino is also now called the hook-lipped rhinoceros, and the white rhino is referred to as the square-lipped rhinoceros. So just purely out of those two differences, due to their feeding habits, white rhinos are grazers, so they've got a broad, wide mouth for cropping grass, and black rhinos have a hooked lip, which is a bit prehensile, which they use for browsing on shrubs. And then a few more differences would be the size. The white rhino is a much bigger, stockier animal. Black rhino is a bit smaller. The humps on their back are a bit more prominent, and the white rhino has quite a large neck. He keeps it quite low to the ground as he spends most of his time grazing. And then generally black rhinos are quite aggressive. White rhinos are a lot more docile, but that's not always. They require respect. But yeah, generally a black rhino is got a lot of attitude. I must say, aside from the vultures today, we haven't seen too many birds, but at the same time we've had so much action with all the elephants and zebras and giraffes. I myself have been a bit distracted. I haven't been keeping my eyes out as much as I should for some birds. Always a catch-52. It's easy to birdwatch when it's quiet and peaceful, but when there's a lot of action going on, it's hard to keep track of everything. it's kind of nice to have the reference here of what I was speaking about with regards to aging the elephants and the sunken and temples. On the right we can see obviously with the large ivory, but these temples are quite heavily sunken in, so we know he's quite an older elephant bull versus the two younger bulls on the left. Their temples aren't nearly as shrunken in, although they also do have large ivory, so they're in the prime of their lives, but they are definitely not as old as their larger mentor near them. So it's always such a unique and interesting view, seeing the elephant's feet and their toenails. They look so gnarled. I think while we leave the elephants to finish off their drink, we're going to go have a look at what's going on at Stony Point. Oh, that's quite a nice sighting. We've got a penguin right in front of us. I think that's a nice treat for a Sunday. I think the penguin also has the right idea in having a bit of a lie down after a long day. I would also say making the most of the good weather. It appears to be quite nice weather there in the Western Cape at the moment, at Betty's Bay. Something I'm quite excited for is, or will be in the future, going to Betty's Bay, only next year, but I'm quite excited to see a few penguins and spend a bit of time in that part of the world and see the nature reserves there. Definitely looks like this penguin is very close to dozing off at the moment. Keeping his caution up, but I think he's resting after a hard day of fishing. Riley is asking what's the pink around its eyes for. Riley, so a number of factors, mainly two simple-ish ones. I'd say communication can communicate a lot about a bird's status to its partner or other birds or its partner. But I'd say that's probably got more to do with the white and black markings. But yeah, the pink would maybe be a bit more communication between partners, and then heat regulation. So since penguins can't sweat, they rely a bit on bare patches of skin, and that's how they can regulate their temperature ever so slightly. Obviously feathers are quite good at insulating them, and where penguins, or where these penguins live, the cold Atlantic Ocean is quite chilly, so losing your body heat in that is not ideal. So sometimes also when it does get warm, they do need to regulate their body temperature. As we see, there's a few more penguins there, but we're going to head over to Camel Thorn. It sounds like there's some action going on there. Well, that's quite exciting. We've got a bit of a territorial dispute going on here. And although this fight doesn't look too serious at the moment, there's a fine line away from getting serious. As waterholes dry up or water spaces become more cramped and crowded, tempers start to flare, and hippos are not known for being very docile. So the dominant bull will quickly assert himself. But I'd say this is still a light discussion that's taking place here. It seems like the argument has ended, and the loser, or the lesser or more submissive bull, will slink off to mind his own business again. After that bit of excitement, I think we're going to go have a look and see what's going on at Tau today. We haven't been there yet. Quite a nice scene at Tau this afternoon. Quite a spread of different animals. We've got a few young kudu bulls, a bit more of a mature one, a young elephant bull, and a nice large herd of blue wildebeest at the back there. And the wildebeest are certainly a lot more at ease at the back there. They've clearly had their fill of water. In a way, you can almost see like the kudu are quite on edge, but they don't look too stressed out. But we know there are some large crocodiles that call this place home, so it does pay to be a bit more careful. Yeah, I would say that's a good example. If we look at how they're quite angled and trying to make sure he's as close as possible to the shallow water so nothing can sneak up on them there.
Let's go and take a look. See you out there.
Even our hyena coming into the action as well now. Oh my word! She's stalking the hyena now. Leopard, hyena, lion, all together in one shot. Oh. This is action-packed.
Do you want to know why impala are the most common antelope we find here in the Kruger National Park? You can ask me questions like this in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive here in the heart of Africa. Join me on Safari Live. Connect with nature.
Nice when you get to watch a breeding herd come down to the water. They all the youngsters tend to play and splash around quite a bit, and definitely more for the fun of it than the actual part of drinking. VC, you'd like to know if each curl on the kudu's horn equals 3 years in age. I think it's a bit of a old tale. It certainly gives you an idea of the age of a kudu bull. They tend to live 8 to 9 years in the wild. Obviously it can be a bit longer. So you could maybe run off of the sun that each curl is 3 years. And once he's got into his third call, obviously it's quite a mature old animal, so there might be a bit of truth in it. Wouldn't necessarily use it for accuracy, but it does certainly give you a good idea roughly how mature a kudu bull is in that circumstance. I was expecting a bit more excitement from this elephant herd approaching the water. I seem to also be doing so slightly carefully. A bit of mud splashing taking place, but they are quite focused on quenching their thirst. And this younger bull seems to have taken quite a nice mud bath. He's plastered himself along the side there. If I'm not mistaken, this younger bull was here when we got to Tau. Obviously a young bull that's been pushed out by his breeding herd. He will now become a bachelor. What you might do is find some older bulls to learn from, but for all intents and purposes he's on his own. See, after quenching the thirst, the rest of the herd's now gonna enjoy a bit of a mud bath. We can see them kicking up the water and mud there, splashing themselves to cool down a bit. And they've certainly got their priorities. It's important to first get the drinking out the way, and then one can play and bathe, etc. It's interesting, kind of in a way, they don't stir up the mud, etc. So they make sure that they're drinking cleaner water that hasn't got too much sediment in it after they've done the drinking, and they're more than happy to jump in and stir the water up a bit in the mud. Valerie, what a perfect scene. I agree completely. Certainly very entertaining to watch the young elephants splash around and just seeing the life of the world thrive and flourish a bit, even in the heart of the dry season. It's very entertaining to watch. This young little elephant is definitely making the most of this opportunity. It's quite cute. Watching him splash around and rub himself there. One nice thing also with Tau is the prolific bird life that calls this waterhole home. So we had some common moorhens swimming past, and there's some blacksmith lapwings running in the background along the shoreline there. But in southern Africa, you generally find them near waterholes. See our moorhen are also taking it easy along the shore there, looking for some scraps to eat, some invertebrates. Turn. Appears to be a Egyptian goose swimming around. Young elephant is having a great time. He's down to the surface of the water. He's having a good roll in the mud. Rosalind, love how playful young elephants are. They certainly are. It's always very entertaining to see the antics they get up to. I see we've got another herd approaching. I'm sure we're going to have quite a similar scene. It's always interesting to see how different herds interact. Some they friendly, or they tend to avoid each other. Elephants are knowing well, we're all related in some way or another. Cousins, aunties, grandmothers, all females of course, but sometimes when a new herd starts they also are distantly related to one another, and those bonds still hold a lifetime. But it does seem like this first herd is quite done with their drink and the wallet, and then they're going to move on. be quite interesting to see how the second herd behaves, because that water was maybe a little stirred up from the previous herd. As we do know, elephants prefer to drink cleaner or less disturbed water. Kind of see how they stretch their trunks out as far as they go away from the edge of the shore or disturb. Definitely quite an elephant party taking place today at Tao. So making the most of it. You can see them mingling and greeting one another. Cat fan, I always focus on the baby elephant for its interactions with the adult elephants. Certainly it's always very entertaining to see those interactions between mother and baby, or even with sometimes sisters or aunts. It's very entertaining to see how they look after them. I must say, baby elephants often remind me of the little clowns of the bush. They're either getting into a fight with a stick, each other into trouble some way or another, but it is fun to see how their older siblings and family members tolerate and look after them, keeping them out of trouble. Canine girl, you'd like to know how often herds join other herds and to take over. Generally, you will have one dominant matriarch until she passes. What can take place, it's something I personally want to read up a bit more on, but as far as what I've read and understood, a matriarch will rule up until her death, until which one of her daughters will take over the herd, having learned from her, and that type of knowledge a matriarch accumulates over years to which waterholes will have water, which food sources are available, dry seasons, wet seasons, all this knowledge is passed down to a daughter. So generally, yeah, that's what will happen. But at the same time, and this is where I'm not a bit clear, is when they will leave to start their own little herds. Sometimes you will come across a young elephant cow with a very young calf and an older calf, and she's essentially starting an old herd. It's always interested me what's the cue for that, or what's the decision that leads to that process. It could be the matriarch passing away and the entire splinters. Lots of factors, weather conditions, etc. Obviously, if a cow moves further afield, there's less competition for resources. But yeah, it's quite an interesting conundrum. But there is always one matriarch in a female breeding herd. I see for a second we had a crocodile skulking about there, moving obviously to different parties. Maybe he was lying in ambush and has been a bit disturbed by the elephant, so I think he's going to find a spot to lie in. I see we've actually got a spoon bull near these elephants. He does not seem too perturbed, but yeah, he's just stirring up the bottom, looking for vertebrates and small aquatic life that he can eat. It's quite interesting. He uses his paddle-like bill to stir up the bottom and almost filter feed slightly. Yeah, he'll take anything from frogs, dragonfly larvae, etc. There's quite a bit going on there. These elephants are really having a good honor, and they are in the thick of it. It's wonderful to see them just enjoying themselves. And that one cow is definitely lathering herself quite well in the mud. It's quite nice seeing this spoon bull showing us how it forages. It seems like quite a few birds are being attracted. We've got a grey heron also approaching, obviously trying to make the most of the disturbance created by the elephants, so some of the aquatic life moves out of the way or gets looking for a new hiding space, and that's capitalized on these predatory birds. This elephant seems to want to give the wildebeest a time. He seems to be heading straight in their direction. But he's decided to make the poor wildebeest find a new resting place. Appears as if he maybe wanted to head towards that anthill for a scratch, but there's certainly some excitement taking place at the waterhole here. A few elephants scrambling in different directions. Some of the younger bulls are having a disagreement with one another and hightailing it out of there. You can see how the body language of some of the elephants has changed quite drastically as they start to raise their heads, flap their ears. Very interesting. I don't know what's gotten these elephants going. They are hightailing it out of there. I don't know if they've maybe picked up the scent of something, maybe like a lion. It was quite a strange occurrence. Well, unfortunately, we've only got a small snapshot of the action that's taking place, but that was very sudden. All of a sudden, it went from peace and quiet to chaos and pandemonium. I don't know if there was maybe a scent picked up. I can't necessarily see anything that's come into the waterhole, but also sometimes there's some boisterous elephant behavior between each other. Obviously the cows will also try to avoid the bull elephants if they're getting a bit rowdy, boisterous. Obviously it's better not to have the calves around. Anything gets out of hand. And it does appear like calm has returned to the waterhole. Everyone's worked on a quick water break, and they're going to head out for this for the afternoon's feeding session. There's not much respite for the elephants in the dry season. They need to eat as much as they can to keep their bodies going, and obviously in the dry parts of the year, the quality and nutritional status of the vegetation decreases, so they have to move further afield. They also tend to eat more woodier plants in the dry season as opposed to the summer wet season where they will focus on grass. But yeah, for elephants it's generally about quantity over quality. They're not too worried about what plant matter they're eating most of the time. Well, I think we've had a nice bit of action here. We're going to head on to Serendella. Well, definitely a very peaceful Sunday at Serendella, and these terrapins have the right plan. Find yourself a floating raft, and in this case it appears to be a hippo. And this hippo bull's also got himself quite a nice peaceful location. You can see he's got some deep scratches on his back. He's obviously been in a couple of fights. It's possible that in a way he's actually almost been relegated to this spot. It's not maybe the premium habitat or water source in the area, but it certainly keeps him out of the sun's rays. Liz, you'd like to know what caused the scratches on the hippo's back? That is from a fight with another hippo bull. We can see in this case it definitely would have gotten quite serious, but those large tusks and incisors that they have are able to inflict a massive amount of damage, and yeah, hippo fights can get quite ugly, and sometimes they do unfortunately end in fatalities. So I would say this is what happened to this hippo bull, then likely the reason why we're seeing him on his own in this waterhole. He probably lost a fight with another bull, so he's found a new water source to go hide in. He'll probably move once again in the wet season when there's more waterholes to choose from, but at this time of year he hasn't got too much choice, and he has to make do with what he can. These terrapins are most of the new floating rock. So I'm quite surprised he was tolerating the one on top of his head. But, I'm surprised he allowed him to climb there to begin with. It's quite interesting to note, although this hippo seems like he's floating, etc., but he is probably, or that he's cognizant, he's actually probably more than likely fast asleep. They are able to sleep while they're in the water. Even when they're underwater, they're able to surface periodically to take breaths of water. It's quite amazing, because I can't imagine being underwater while asleep, but obviously all the adaptations the hippos have, the way their nostrils and ears close, etc., and how they breathe with the instinct kind of air allows them to do it. I must say, it does look like this bull had a bit of a nasty incident quite recently. It doesn't look like these are too old. They are quite tough animals though. Their skin secretes it's a pink-like substance, and that substance plays a role in obviously or UV protection from the sun, but it's also been found to have antibiotic properties, which is quite a benefit for them and their aggressive lifestyles, where they often bite each other. And you can think of all the different bacteria and pathogens that may be inside a waterhole deep in the bush. So it goes a long way in helping them not pick up an infection. Obviously it's not 100%. There will come a time sometimes when the hippo gets a bit sick or a bit of an infection, and sometimes for no other reason you will find a dead hippo next to the water. And it's not often that you see a hippo predated on, so it would more than likely be the microbes in a case like that. Almost see a bit of that pink substance. I think it's a bit of the glare there, but you tend to often see it accumulate near the folds of the skin, etc. But it is a bit difficult with the shade that's being thrown onto the hippo. Obviously it's quite beneficial for the terrapins to find a safe spot like this. Of course sometimes crocodiles will snack on them. I don't think you see it too often, but the crocodile, being an opportunist such as it is, will not hesitate to snap up a terrapin, and they are often on the menu of a number of other predators. Leopards will take them, fish eagles will certainly give a try. I don't think it's as successful. They do need to be careful. Obviously their shells are relatively hard, but I don't think it's as adept as a tortoise at protecting itself. Often in the low veld, if you come across a waterhole or a dam, you'll quickly see how scurry into the water looking for protection. I think this fellow might fall off. He's holding on to his perch. Well, that terrapin is definitely holding on for dear life. He's trying to re-stabilize himself on top of the hippo. I think he might lose the fight. Seems like he's managed to keep his spot. monkey, I do agree. Crazy balance or a very good grip. I think he's well wedged in there between the hippo's eye socket and ear there. But I do think his claws are maybe giving him a bit of help. He doesn't seem to be bothering the hippo much at all, but clearly there's quite a bit of toleration going on there. I would have thought the hippo maybe just would have shaken his head once or twice, but he seems to be quite a peaceful and lazy mood. Doesn't seem to mind his friend there. Even through this he seems he's just lost the fight. He'll have to go find himself a new spot or start from scratch again. Seems like the hippo's woken up a bit more, is a lot more aware. Might have possibly been due to the terrapin hanging onto him. Seems like he's settling back down. He's having another nap. Well, it seems like our hippo's had enough of the terrapins and has mainly shaken it more off. Can also imagine though with those sharp claws, if they do maybe touch a bit of a sensitive spot on his skin, it's far from pleasant. Obviously hippos have quite a thick hide, and while those cuts look very painful to us, it's maybe not as deep as it initially appears, but I'm more than sure they're a bit sensitive. But they're probably just healed up and scarred a bit. It seems like one of the terrapins making a plan to get back on. Now see, we've got a elephant bull coming. We might see a bit of an interrupt, but I don't think the hippo bull is going to pay him much attention to this. It's quite entertaining. A lot of smaller waterholes on the low veld and the greater Kruger, where hippo squeezes in, you often see them getting hurt. There's actually quite a few elephants coming in. It looks like a bit of a breeding herd.
This is an unbelievable afternoon.
At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change.
Would you like to know at what age a buffalo calf gets its horns? These are questions that you can ask me in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive here in the heart of Africa. Join me on Safari Live and connect with nature.
Every month, something wild lands in your inbox. From rare sightings and behind-the-scenes secrets to expert stories, seasonal changes, and exclusive travel opportunities, the Wild Earth Journal is your free monthly mailer, packed with the magic of the wild straight from the field. It's fun, it's free, it's full of surprises. Sign up now on the Wild Earth website.
I almost want to say it's a 50-50. I've seen a couple or some footage over the years. Sometimes the hippos get a bit brave and chase the elephants and then quickly slink off into the water. But yeah, definitely a 50-50. Sometimes the elephants also retaliate and give the hippos a bit of a talking to. I know at Rosie's pan, for example, the one elephant made it its mission to chase the hippo out of the pan there and actually force the hippo into the bushes. But that being said, hippos can be very possessive of their waterholes, and anything for that matter approaching the water is normally at the brunt of a bit of aggression. I don't think it would necessarily keep them away from the water. It might give them a fright and they would return and assert their dominance. I see those three elephants at the back there seem a bit cautious or alert. They might have maybe just smelt something. There's obviously always a lot of sense floating around near a waterhole. I don't think there necessarily is anything, but it could have also been why that impala was so cautious and jumpy. It would be quite a special treat if there was maybe perhaps a lion hiding in those bushes for us on Lion Day. Will be. There's certainly some scent that's getting their attention there, but clearly nothing they're concerned of. This is a good example of what we were speaking of earlier, of a smaller herd starting. This is obviously one cow and two of her offspring. So she herself will essentially in the situation is the matriarch, and over time her herd will continue to grow. But yeah, certainly a very interesting question or reason why would she split from one of her herds in the first place. But I do think the reasons are quite numerous and various depending on certain situations. From a bit of reading I've done, it seems like generally herds will split up once they become too large. So that would probably fall into the reasoning of competition for food resources, etc. Can imagine quite a large herd moving through the bush has got quite an impact on the vegetation, and it's quite difficult to have access to good vegetation and nutrition if everything is being damaged with a massive herd. Yeah. And these elephants were also having a nice splash. I've got the priority set straight. Once the drinking is time, have a nice bathe. I think the elephants are a bit braver than I am. As relaxing as it looks, I have a feeling that water is a bit chilly. Obviously they can handle it a lot better.
For years, we've shared virtual wildlife. Now, let's experience it for real. I'm Lauren Arthur, and I'd love to show you my amazing home here in the Greater Kruger of South Africa. This 5-night journey is an exclusive connection to my piece of untamed Africa. I live here in these gorgeous landscapes surrounded by epic wildlife. The wild is calling, so come and join me.
What does it take to handle the wild? Balance. Determination. Focus.
Yaku!
And gear that can take a beating so you don't have to.
Would you like to know the difference between a male and a female wildebeest? You can ask me questions like this in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive here in the heart of Africa. Join me on Safari Live and connect with nature.
Welcome to Safari Spotlight. We'll be
And you pretend like you're a serviceman, eh?
Got no idea what's going on this reserve.
Expecting the unexpected.
Are we stuck down there?
What am I trying to do?
Because we have another giant of Mabula.
That was incredible.
This is unbelievable.
It's going to be a spectacular afternoon.
Robin, looks like quite a shallow pan. Is it naturally filled? Yes. Be one of those artificial water holes. Obviously set up in the Thorny Bush Reserve. It's not normal to see a water hole like this dry, this full in this dry time on the low veld towards the end of the dry season. You can see it's next to a drainage basin, drainage line next to the water hole, so water would naturally flow through here, but in the situation of and has been to support the animals through the dry season, and also kind of ensure that there's game viewing opportunities throughout the year. Without water, a lot of areas have become quite abandoned and you don't see much. I know my travels, I've been in Namibia, and some very, very wild, undisturbed areas, they get quite dry and you will drive around for hours on end and not actually see much, not even an impala or an elephant. But I would also wager this waterhole is not very big. See the hippo with a leg sticking out, it says to me he's runs the risk of breaking in the wet season, which in itself problem and ecological problem. To like that break a dam wall, etc. It can erode quite a few things. The elephants are slowly making their way towards the hippo. We might get a bit of an interaction here. My thanks to everyone for the great session you've had. So you've actually got some oxpeckers joining to say bye on today's waterhole session on a Sunday. Although I do think the hippo's going to find them a bit irritating. Wounds you have, maybe scratch it open a bit, and after the we can peaceful way to spend just enjoying the African bush go about its things. I would call that definitely good timing. As we wrap up, elephants have had their drink and they wish us goodbye. And the hippo is definitely going back to sleep. He's looking forward to the peace and quiet now that everyone's left him alone. But thanks again everyone for joining us, and look forward to seeing you at the next session. Wish everyone a great Sunday further, and hope it's fantastic.
Welcome to Safari Spotlight, an adventure to find Southern Africa's wildlife wonders. Join us on an enthralling virtual safari. Relax, learn, and be inspired. Discover gorgeous species, get to know iconic animals.